question.
Okay. All right. So, hello there. My name's
Hi,
Wade, and I'm
Wade.
doing this interview for Events Magazine Online. And so, Out of Order has the feel of classic identity swap comedies. So, which films or filmmakers most influenced your approach to this story?
So I think that what I was trying to aim at, and obviously never been able to get even close to this level of brilliant films, but A Fish Named Wanda, My Cousin
Uh,
Vinny, There's Something About Mary, Mrs. Doubtfire, kind of the classic situational comedy where it's all about the dialogue and the pacing and the characters and the situation. You don't need to be mean to anybody. You don't need to demean anybody. You can just have fun,
sure.
in the story.
All right. That makes sense. It's definitely a comedy. There's no getting that mixed up. There are comedic
Oh.
vibes throughout the movie. So Brandon is best known for playing, well, let's just say it's Superman, basically. So
Yeah.
what made him the right choice to portray a lawyer who's constantly juggling two identities and escalating chaos? I guess it kind of answered that question, maybe, because that's
Well,
kind of what
partially, right?
Superman is like.
So partially you answer it, right? He playing two very kind of different personalities in Superman, right? Both
Sure.
Clark Kent and Superman. I watched him do Dylan Dog actually with Sam Huntington, which is a comedy. I'm not sure how if it played in the US, but it's based on comics. And he was hilarious in. I also was fortunate to watch him in Legends of Tomorrow, where he was playing the role with a lot of comedic interpretation. So I thought that's so those plus the fact that I believe this specific role required beyond being handsome and charming, which Brandon obviously is, um, also to be able to do physical comedy. And I don't
Sure.
think that there are as many actors today that do that. And Brandon being very athletic and actually can do a lot of that make the film for me, it adds another level of both, sorry, complexity and fun to allow, more jokes and more situation that maybe somebody else would not have been able to do.
Sure. There are definitely some physical moments in this movie that I don't want to spoil anything, but people will be on the lookout for. So comedy often depends on timing. So how did you balance, the precise timing with giving the cast room to improvise or discover some unexpected laughs?
So this is a brilliant question. I think was a combination of a number of things. I'll start with the last one, which I think is crucial. My DP, Matt, who is a brilliant DP, was also the head editor and was tremendous amount of work of, working and finding the right cuts and pacing, both in the shooting and in the editing to make everything work properly. But beyond that, I realized very early in the process that I was, enjoyed Reg of Riches, that I had a brilliant cast of a lot of amazing comedic
Sure,
actors. And so allowing them to bring their brilliance and lending me their genius to make the film funnier was very important to say, hey, it's not my film. It's our film. And if you think it's mine, don't do it. If you think it's ours, let's do it together. And then beyond that, I think that I realized very early is that a lot of the pace and as you say, allowing the actors to feel comfortable will be delivered by them liking each other. So um, I spent a lot of time just making them to like each other. We had, before anybody even had to be on the set a week before rehearsals, they all came to my place. My wife is a Michelin star chef, so we made them dinner. We opened some good bottles of wine that you can see behind, And I told them, don't speak about the film. Just get to know each other.
Sure.
Speak about it. And once you invested both in the film, but also like your fellow actors, and it's not, especially in a comedy, it comes across. They really enjoyed each other. They really liked work for each other, wanted to make the film funnier. So I think that approach, especially in a comedy like that, was the right way to go.
And so this movie combines comedy with a legal tale involving a pharmaceutical company. So did you have any concerns about one story element overshadowing the other?
No, I thought that that the I thought that the legal part, meaning being an ex-lawyer, I think helped me with the legal side of things to make sure that things work at least more properly.
Yeah, yeah,
So if you're not so knowing the subject matter on what you write and what you direct was very, very helpful, I hope, for the film, because I knew the situations, I knew what it means. I clerked in federal court. So I kind of had some ideas of how it's supposed to work. And I thought that I was focusing more on the legal side of the because I thought the comedy was more in the legal side, but I thought that using a huge pharmaceutical company allows some of the additional laughs and familiarity that everybody take medication, everybody is familiar with that corporate world.
sure. And when it comes to um, the disguises, like John Slater's disguises and the double life, which are pretty central to the film, what were the biggest directing challenges when it comes to that?
Um, well, I thought that what we try to make sure is that the disguise is good enough that it's that the audience obviously know what's going on, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. So there's no reason for people in the big firm to suspect that they never met John. Actually, there's no reason for them to suspect what is going on. Right? Brooke never met him in the interview. It was on the phone. Um, there's never reason to suspect that there's something fishy going on. So the disguise needs to be good enough to pull that off, but not eh, so exhaustive, let's say Mrs. Doubtfire or Tootsie, that it will take a crazy amount of time to have the quick change for the courtroom scenes. So the balancing that was important.
Is
I'm
there
sorry, I think
audio?
you're on. I'm sorry again. Now I could hear you.
I couldn't hear you for a second. So
Okay.
I saw it a little bit as sort of a parody of the Clark Kent and Superman situation. You know, everybody always says you can tell that it's just him without glasses. You know what I mean? Like that's
Right.
Clark Kent without glasses. So that's kind of how I interpreted that a little bit. I don't know if that was
No, no,
intentional.
we referred to couple of times we referred to the Clark Kent and Superman hints, I think in two or three scenes, and then but we wanted to be a bit more
Sure.
than that, because that requires a bit more significant suspension of belief. So we did, use broader shoulders and different clothes and different, and a wig and some others, glasses and so on. But we hope that we kept it close enough that it works and far enough that it works.
So Sam Huntington and Brooke Shields bring some different comedic energy to the film. So how did you shape the chemistry among the cast, like when it comes to these different personalities that they had to portray on the screen?
So we were very fortunate that Sam Sam Huntington is a brilliant actor, absolutely brilliant. He's just funny and he's a smart guy. So it's such a pleasure working with him. But in real life, Brandon and Sam are very good friends. So I already had that built-in chemistry that they
Sure.
bounce off each other, kind of like faster than real life ping pong dialogue that that they enjoy each other. They already have that some of that chemistry. So I had less work to do there. Um, Brooke, it was, people forget that Brooke Shields is a brilliant comedian. If you go back to Samly Susan or her new TV show, You're Killing Me, she really is a very funny person. And I wanted somebody that not only can do the comedy, but, she's tall, she's beautiful, and she can be a dominant I'm sorry, person next to Brandon. I didn't want Brandon to be towering over the women. If you think about it, actually, in the film, all of the women characters are really well put together and very successful. Every single one of them. You have a judge and a senior lawyer
Sure.
and a research scientist and a supermodel. The guys, not so much. So I wanted it to be driven that way and allow Brooke to play the powerful attorney and uh, implement her more imposing physical size and appearance on the procedure.
And this is also a bit of a love story too. Uh,
True.
what was your thinking on uh, the chemistry between those characters?
So first, people don't realize we just found out literally last week that Tao Okamoto, who plays the female, his ex-girlfriend in the film, just won Best Actress in the Cannes Film Festival. He
Oh,
was the first Japanese actor or to ever, Japanese person to ever win a major award in Cannes, shockingly. So she's a brilliant, and I kind of wanted to create a situation in which you literally until the last minute you kind of pull for both women, right? And like you say, oh, we should be with Tao, with the ex-model, the supermodel, or his ex-girlfriend, and the other people say, no, no, he should be with Cristal
yeah,
Rodriguez, and so keeping that tension that it's not really, really clear who is the winner, and it's not, oh, he obviously needs to go with that woman and not the other woman. I think helped drive the story, right? Because I think that Lisa, the part that Tao plays, she's kind of the engine of the film. If he's not so driven to get her back, why is he doing all of this crazy stuff? So I
sure,
needed to have her not like be a caricature of, some bimbo and so on, but really, sensitive, nice, generous person that you root for to actually him getting her. And on the other hand, having a completely different character, which is played by Cristal Rodriguez, also brilliant, but it's completely different physically, and in any other way, shape, or form. And you pull for her to win the man. So that was a very interesting tightrope to walk on.
sure. Well, I think most people would probably want the one that he encounters by accident at first.
Yep.
That's what I think would be the most uh, rooted for character.
Well,
So
that's why we leave it open all the way to the end that what is he going to do, and hopefully with some surprises.
after making Out of Order, what lessons are you taking into your next project? And is there another genre you love to tackle that audiences might not expect, like horror or I don't know,
So
western or something?
unfortunately, yeah. So I find it that if I know the subject matter and I am familiar and enjoy the genre himself, I, as a director and as a writer, can do a much better job. I cannot write about something I don't know. At least I can't, and I cannot direct something I don't know as well. So I think horror is out for me. I can't do a good horror film. Um, so I'll say the three genres that I do enjoy. I obviously enjoy comedies. I did some interesting dramas, but I think the next projects that I'm working on is a combination of, it's called suspense thriller. But the style that I like to write and stories I am working on are, if you think of David Mamet style, kind of The Spanish Prisoner or The Usual Suspects, where you think you know what is going on, but you actually never know
Uh,
what's going on. There's a lot of twists and turns. And if you think, which is kind of, for me, I hope that that's where I excel. Even if you look at Out of Order, if I stop the film after 10 minutes, say, what do you think the film is about? What do you think will happen? What do you think will happen in the next 10, 15 minutes? You will not really be able to say. And at any point, if we stop it after half an hour, after 40 minutes, 50 minutes, 60 minutes, you still will not know. And even go 10 minutes before the end, and you still not be sure. And we keep
right.
throwing escalation, twists, and surprises. So I think that that's where I hopeful to say maybe that's excel is try to continuously engage the audience that they don't know what's coming up, and it's escalate the story and make it more interesting.
Yeah, most stories are better if you have like an element of surprise and
True.
if people don't know what's so that's like a way to get people to like it even if they didn't necessarily like something at first if they were like oh I don't know about this but if you keep making things interesting and having at least an occasional twist and turn you're going to have somebody engaged and wondering where are they going with this you know
Right. In one of the screenings we're watching, I think that it's like 300 and something people completely sold out opening night at Chelsea Film Festival, and we realized that people, as they got more engaged in the story and in the character, they found more and more things funny. So and allowed the twists and turns. So I think getting the audience to actually continuously pay attention because things continuously change, allow them to enjoy the story, the character, the situations more than if they say, oh, if I don't pay attention for 10, 15 minutes, no big deal, nothing changed.
and if you just have like stock characters who aren't dynamic they are just one dimensional I think people are going to pay less attention to those.
Yep, agreed. Completely agreed.
So I think that's basically all I needed to ask to have a full article. So I should have started with this too. This is also going to be a podcast episode, if you don't
Okay.
mind. Okay.
No, not at all.
Everyone and their dog has a podcast. I've got one too. So
Well, I
um,
feel free. We are happy to speak with you, and hopefully you enjoyed the
okay.
film. And so
Yeah.
article,
Maybe at
podcast,
least a couple
however,
people, maybe at least a couple people will see this episode on my podcast. I don't know, a handful at
hopefully,
least. Yeah. So, all
hopefully,
right, I guess
or
that's
many more.
good luck with your movie. You've got like an all-star cast at least. I think that's going to help you out. And
Thank you.
it's nice talking to you. Nice meeting you. And
Absolutely, my pleasure, Wade.